This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. It is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, lifting restrictions against the coronavirus. Some states removing regulations on masks and closings, and as the pace of vaccinations is picking up. But some federal officials still worry it is too soon. Seceding from America and breaking the country up into different regions. You might be surprised how many people are supporting the idea. A power grab by the Democrats. That's what Republicans say about the Democrats' new measure on voting reform. And with 12 Grammy Awards and more than 17 million records sold, CeCe Winans is gospel music royalty. But her new project is still a musical first. We'll explain why. All those stories and more are ahead in today's edition of CBN NewsWatch. We begin this half hour with the battle against COVID-19 as more and more states are starting to lift COVID restrictions putting in place at the height of the pandemic. In some places, restaurants and gyms are opening to full capacity. But federal health officials worry those actions are premature. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Texas is leading the way as several states are reopening for business after rolling back many of their COVID-19 mandates, a move the CDC cautions against as variants of the virus may pose a greater threat. Texas will lift its mask mandate and allow all businesses to reopen next week.
Most businesses have been open either 75% or 50%. And during that time, too many Texans have been sidelined from employment opportunities. Too many small business owners have struggled to pay their bills. This must end. It is now time to open Texas 100%.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott citing the declining number of new cases and the flood of vaccines promised in coming months. 11 other states are also easing restrictions. Massachusetts is lifting indoor dining limits and opening up other businesses like gyms to 50% capacity. COVID cases across the country plunging more than 70%, down from an average of nearly 250,000 infections a day in mid-January. Average deaths per day plummeting about 40%. Numbers, though, are starting to creep up again, and top health officials warn states not to let their guard down.
I remain deeply concerned about a potential shift in the trajectory of the pandemic.
On the vaccine front, President Biden announcing a speeded-up timeline, promising doses for every American sooner than expected.
This country will have enough vaccine supply, I'll say it again, for every adult in America by the end of May. That's progress.
Biden utilizing the Defense Production Act to foster a historic partnership between rival pharmaceutical companies Johnson & Johnson and Merck to increase vaccine production. Meanwhile, President Biden is pushing to reopen the country's public schools. He's urging states to prioritize vaccinating teachers and school staff by the end of March. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
And CBN News medical reporter Lorie Johnson joins us now with more. So, Lorie, President Biden announced yesterday there will be enough vaccines for all adults by Memorial Day. Many begging the question then, is this the beginning of the end of the pandemic?
Well, a lot of people are saying that it looks that way. Things are just, every time we look at the statistics and the information, things are looking better. The deaths are down. The case rates are down. They're still too high, though. We're still talking about 57,000 new cases yesterday, still 1,300 new deaths yesterday, Ephraim. But yes, the information is great. There will be enough vaccine for half of the adult population in the United States to get their vaccine by the end of this month. So things are looking up. There are those variants out there. The CDC director has issued caution about these, particularly the South African variant, because it has been shown to evade the vaccine and some treatments. And so caution does need to be issued regarding, just letting everything go and not taking any precautions at all at this point.
Lorie, some pro-life advocates do not like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it was made using fetal cell lines. Explain what that means.
So fetal cell lines are not fetal tissue, and there has been, especially on social media, some misinformation about that. So this is, we're talking about an abortion that occurred in 1970, so many decades ago, and the cells from that aborted child have continually replicated in labs, many different labs, for all these decades. So we're talking about cells that are thousands of generations removed from that initial abortion, and they're used in vaccines and lots of other different medical products. So that's what a cell line is, and these cell lines were used to grow the vaccine. So this is objectionable to some people. Others say, for example, the Vatican say it's okay to take this vaccine because, again, remember, vaccines are also an issue of life, just like abortion is. And the Vatican is saying that, vaccines do save lives. And so it's okay to take a vaccine that was manufactured this way. Some people can't get past it, though.
Can people choose which vaccine they take?
At this point, the answer is no. And so when you are offered a vaccine, health experts say go ahead and take whichever one is offered to you because time is of the essence. Because as we talked about before, we want to see as many people get vaccinated before these variants have a chance to take hold. And so when you are offered a vaccine, they won't give you the choice of whether it's Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson. You just pretty much have to take the one that's offered to you. If you don't take it, who knows when you're going to be able to get the vaccine that you want. And in the meantime, you could get sick with coronavirus.
So when do you think we'll be getting back to life as, I guess, new normal, if you will?
That's the goal. That's what we're all looking towards. So the health experts say we have to reach this herd immunity. We've been talking about herd immunity for so long. That means that so many people have been protected against the coronavirus. So many people are immune to the coronavirus from one of two ways, whether you've been vaccinated or you have natural immunity because you've gotten sick from it and now your body has the antibodies. And they're saying at least 70% of the population needs to be immune to the coronavirus. When will that be? We know that it could happen as soon as this summer because the supply of vaccines will be there. The question, Ephraim, of course, is even though the supply is there, will people get the vaccine? We see this with the flu every year. We have plenty of flu vaccine, but not that many people. Only about half of the American public gets their flu vaccine. So it'll be interesting to see how many people actually get the coronavirus vaccine when it is made available to everyone.
All right, Lorie Johnson, thank you so much for your insight there. Much appreciated. President Joe Biden has suffered his first high-profile defeat on one of his cabinet nominees and faces a tough battle over another. Neera Tanden withdrew her nomination last night to be the head of the Office of Management and Budget. Tanden had been under fire for her long history of tweets, including heavily partisan attacks on Republicans. West Virginia Democratic Senator opposed Tanden, and no Republican supported her, making her confirmation impossible. Republicans are also aiming to stop Biden's nominee to be Health Secretary, Xavier Becerra. Pro-lifers oppose him because of his support for California's abortion laws and policies, which are some of the most liberal in the country. One called him a pro-abortion activist based on his court cases. America is extremely divided politically right now, but could it be literally divided in the years ahead? In other words, split up. One survey found more people actually support the idea than you may think, with 29% saying they support dissolving the country into like-minded regions. That is according to a poll from a political science research project, Brightline Watch. The researchers wrote that secession is a genuinely radical proposition. Until recently, we would have regarded it as too marginal to include in a survey. But state legislatures in Mississippi and Texas and state GOP leaders in Texas and Wyoming have openly advocated secession in recent months. In the survey, the idea of dissolving the United States into regions was supported by 35% of Republicans, 37% of independents, and only 21% of Democrats. The researchers did caution people have likely not considered the idea of secession carefully. Still, a clear minority of Americans don't reject the idea outright. Turning overseas now, at least 10 rockets struck an Iraqi military base housing U.S. troops in western Anbar province overnight. It is the same base hit by Iran in January 2020 after the U.S. strike, taking out Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Iraqi military sources say today's attack did not do significant damage. No initial reports of injuries or deaths. Some suspect Iranian-backed militias launched this attack, retaliating after U.S. warplanes hit similar groups in eastern Syria last week. Middle East expert Seth Franzman told CBN News these militias are an extension of Iran's military.
They're a state within a state. They have their own finances and checkpoints. They terrorize people. They fire rockets. They have drones. They have missiles.
The attack's coming just 2 days before Pope Francis is scheduled to visit Iraq. And we want to remind you of a new free service from CBN News, a CBN News daily email called Quick Start. It gives you the stories you need each morning by 7 a.m. Eastern. Get important national, international, and faith-based news delivered right to your inbox. You can subscribe to Quick Start at quickstart.news. Coming up, congressional Democrats are set to pass their plan to make changes in voting laws, which could create national rules for voting. Democrats call it common sense, but conservatives warn it's a power grab and a way for Democrats to keep control in Washington. We're going to bring you a look at the debate over the bill when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Democrats are calling their election reform bill the For the People Act, but Republicans are calling it a federal power grab. The bill mandates early voting and outlaws voter ID requirements. Conservatives say that will make it easy to manipulate elections and difficult to detect fraud. Jenna Browder brings us the story from Washington.
With the House back in session this week, H.R. 1 is on the floor. Every House Democrat has signed on to the legislation, which aims to reform federal elections. But Republicans say not so fast.
But you can't ever accept when they steal and rig and rob.
After the turbulent 2020 election, followed by the deadly assault on the Capitol, many agree election reform is needed. Unfortunately, what that looks like depends on the side doing the talking. For Democrats, it comes in the form of H.R. 1, which they call the For the People Act. This legislation aims to basically create a nationalized voting system, requiring uniform rules for all states. It would, for example, mandate early voting, then same-day registration, outlaw voter ID requirements, and allow ballot harvesting.
The Democrats have been campaigning on two key provisions.
California Congressman Ro Khanna sees it as common sense reform.
One, that every person should have an equal right to vote, and that the voting rights really matter, and especially after the passage passing of John Lewis. Many Americans believe that we shouldn't have lobbyists and big donors and big money influencing our politics, and this would really try to get rid of a lot of the influence of big money.
Conservatives counter that the For the People Act only benefits progressives and liberals by helping them keep control in Washington.
It is full of federal mandates and prohibitions that would, in essence, weaken all of the security protocols in the election process, and frankly, make it easy to cheat, easy to manipulate election results, and very difficult for states to detect or deter election fraud.
Hans von Spakovsky with the Heritage Foundation was once a commissioner on the Federal Election Commission, which enforces federal laws on federal campaigns.
They're claiming it's all about access to the ballot box, but what they forget to tell folks is that you have to have both access and security. And there's no reason, for example, to do what H.R. 1 does, which is to make it illegal for any state to have a voter ID requirement.
Khanna disagrees that getting rid of the ID requirement would open the door for fraud.
I don't think so. I mean, the studies have not shown that voter fraud is rampant. I mean, I know that this is a big dispute. A lot of the voters who are not voting in some of these states are conservative voters, which is why you saw the Trump team putting such an effort on increasing voter turnout. So I think we all should be for higher voter turnout, and I don't think that's necessarily always going to benefit the Democrats.
The legislation, first introduced 2 years ago, would also require political groups to disclose high-dollar donors, create reporting requirements for online political ads, and in a nod to Trump, obligate presidents to disclose their tax returns. And with Democrats holding the majority in the House, Senate, and White House, this could be their time. The bill's fate ultimately depends on if enough Republicans will consider the legislation that they've rejected time and time again. If not, Democrats could eliminate the Senate filibuster, which would get rid of the 60-vote requirement. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Still ahead, she's a wife, mother, grandmother, pastor, and a recording artist. CeCe Winans is here to introduce us to a musical first in her career, and the timing couldn't be better. Stay with us.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Welcome back to CBN Newswatch. With 12 Grammy Awards and more than 17 million records sold, CeCe Winans is the best-selling gospel recording artist and gospel music royalty. But her new project is still a musical first for her. She's sharing why as she introduces us to Believe for It.
They say this mountain can't be moved. They say these chains will never break. But they don't know you like we do. There is power in your name.
23 Dove Awards, 15 Stellar Awards, 12 Grammy Awards, and 17 million purchases of your music. When you hear that rattled off, what do you think?
Wow, you know, I've been doing this a long time, but it's still wow.
There is power in your name. So much power in your name.
Now, this is your first live worship project?
First live project, period.
Wow.
No. I like the studio where you can just do it over and over again.
Okay.
God, we believe for it.
And you know, the funny thing is, I finally do my live record, right? And we had planned to do it at the beginning of 2020. Then the pandemic happened.
Wow.
So I'm going to do a live record with no people? I'm like, wow.
God, we believe no matter what, there is power in your name.
So we got it done towards the end of 2020. So we had a couple of people socially distant. But you know what? I was like, Lord, just let us capture your presence. Let us capture your presence. And he was so gracious to allow us to do that.
God, we believe for it. From the impossible, we'll see a miracle. God, we believe. God, we believe for it.
Now, I know the public has already been able to hear Never Lost a Battle, which I love. They've also been able to hear Believe for It. So we've got those two. We're waiting for the rest. Which one are you looking most forward to us hearing?
I'm just interested for people to hear the totality, really, of the song.
Okay.
Because even Never Lost and Believe for It, it's where it goes in the whole experience. You know, because, you know, I am known for singing songs in between songs that the Lord just puts on my heart more than singing a song, you know. Even Believe for It, that tag on the end was not a part of the song. You know, you said it, I believe it, it's done. You said it, I believe it, it's done. I just feel like we got to get that into our spirits and into our hearts. To continue to heal from what we've already been through, you know, in 2020. A lot of people are broken. They feel like giving up. They lost loved ones. They're hurting, you know, and we don't have an option not to believe. We got to believe if we're going to see God move in the way we need him to move.
Just because you said it, just because you said it, move the immovable, break the unbreakable. God, we believe. God, we believe for it. From the impossible, we'll see a miracle. God, we believe. God, we believe for it.
The entire project is called Believe for It. It's available everywhere next week. To hear more from CeCe, be sure to catch an all-new Studio 5 this evening. It begins at 8:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. We're also counting down this week's top 5 uplifting entertainment stories. Coming up, music legend Dolly Parton encourages everyone to get their COVID vaccination with a humorous but serious message, changing the lyrics of one of her famous songs. We'll also hear what she had to say when we come back. Stay with us.
region's first ROTC graduate student.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment with celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances.
I'll give you my best praise.
Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Your news channel, your shows, the stories you care about. Anytime you want, anywhere you want. Download the CBN News app today.
Singing legend Dolly Parton got her COVID vaccine shot Tuesday, and she said she wanted to tell everyone to get theirs as well, revising the lyrics to her famous song, Jolene.
I even changed one of my songs to fit the occasion. It goes, vaccine, 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 vaccine. I'm begging of you, please don't hesitate. Vaccine, 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 vaccine. 'Cause once you're dead, then that's a bit too late.
Parton added that although she was being funny with her song, she was dead serious about encouraging people to get their shot, including those who might be afraid, to help the country get back to normal as soon as possible. Parton donated $1 million to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville for coronavirus research. Time now for your Wednesday Word, and today I leave you with 3 words shared by CeCe Winans just a little earlier in this newscast. Believe for it. Whatever you are in need of at this moment, believe for it. God can do anything except fail. With that word, I encourage you to make this a wonderful Wednesday, and be sure to have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. That will do it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. Feel free to email us at the address on your screen. It is newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We certainly would love to hear from you. Hope you'll join us right back here, same time tomorrow again. Make it a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you right back here come Thursday. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.